Silence lives here. In a land so wide that the sky feels endless, nature still stands taller than people. This is Montana. Here, there are nearly 3 times more cows than humans. The land is so vast and quiet that only a few people live in each square kilometre. Roads stretch for miles without a single house. The world feels bigger. Time feels slower. This is also the kingdom of the grizzly bear. More wild grizzlies live here than in any other state in the southern United States. Montana is shaped by wind, ice, and endless sky. Sharp peaks rise in the west. Open plains roll on in every direction. At night, the stars feel close enough to touch. In the morning, mist drifts over rivers that have flowed for thousands of years. While cities rush forward, this land keeps an older rhythm, a rhythm of hooves on grass, of wings in the air, of silence that speaks. Welcome to Montana, a place where the earth feels alive and every journey begins with wonder. Many people dream of living in the wild. Montana makes that dream feel real. But living here means sharing your backyard with grizzly bears that weigh as much as 8 grown men. Even though they look chunky, these bears can sprint at 35 miles per hour, which is faster than an Olympic runner. While the bears rule the woods, the grey wolves run the valleys in big, organised families called packs. You can hear them talking to each other with spine-tingling howls that echo for miles through the trees. Their job is to keep the ecosystem healthy by making sure the elk don't eat all the grass in one spot. If you head to the open plains, you'll meet the bison, which are basically 1-ton fuzzy tanks on 4 legs. They were almost gone forever, but now thousands of them roam free, often causing bison traffic jams on the roads. High above the bison, you might see a white mountain goat standing on a cliff edge no wider than your foot. These daredevils have special hooves that act like suction cups, so they can climb near vertical rock walls. Down by the rivers, bald eagles build nests so huge that a whole bed could fit inside them. With eyes 4 times sharper than ours. These eagles can spot a single fish while soaring high in the clouds. Hidden in the marshes is the moose, the largest deer on Earth, with antlers that spread wider than a sofa. Even the tiny pika plays a part, scurrying through rocks to stack hay piles of dried grass for the winter. When you visit, remember to keep your distance so these creatures can keep calling Big Sky Country home. Now, before we move on to the next destination, here's a fun question for you. In what year did Montana become a U.S. state? Comment your answer below. Under this calm landscape lies the largest supervolcano in North America. It shaped the land, the lakes, and even the steam rising into the sky. This massive volcanic system created the Yellowstone caldera, which covers a huge area beneath the park. 2 million years ago, powerful eruptions changed the land and formed mountains, rivers, and wide valleys. The same heat pushes hot water and steam up through cracks in the ground. That is why more than half of the world's geysers exist in this single park. Long before scientists studied this land, Native American tribes lived here for over 11,000 years. In 1872, the United States protected this area, making Yellowstone the world's first national park. Today, the park remains the heart of one of the largest intact ecosystems in North America. Covering nearly 9,000 square kilometres, Yellowstone is larger than some entire countries. It sits high in the Rocky Mountains, where rivers begin and flow out to different parts of North America. Because of its location, this land connects forests, plains, and mountains into one vast natural system. This is why Yellowstone is considered the centre of the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. One of the largest remaining intact ecosystems on Earth. In 1959, a single earthquake moved more than 30 million cubic metres of rock. It blocked a river and created an entirely new lake. That disaster shaped Hebgen Lake. The earthquake measured 7.5 in magnitude and struck near the Madison River in Montana. A huge landslide poured down the canyon wall and stopped the river's flow completely. Hebgen Lake, held back by an earth-fill dam, was damaged but did not break. Cabins around the lake shifted, chimneys fell, and roads cracked and moved out of place. Today, Hebgen Lake sits just west of Yellowstone and is known for fishing, boating, and camping. Most visitors enjoy the calm water, unaware it was shaped by one of the strongest earthquakes in US history. Those trees standing in the water are not alive. They are graves of a landscape that once stood here. In the summer of 1959, this quiet valley did not exist as a lake. Just before midnight, the earth shook with terrifying force. An earthquake tore through the mountains of Montana. In less than a minute, 80 million tons of rock raced down Sheep Mountain. The Madison River was blocked and the water had nowhere to go. Slowly, then surely, Quake Lake began to rise. Long before names and maps existed, hot water rose from the earth and a wild river was born. From fire and stone, the Madison River began its long journey north. The river starts inside Yellowstone National Park at the exact point where the Firehole River meets the Gibbon River. The Firehole River carries warm water, heated by geysers and hot springs near Old Faithful. The Gibbon River arrives colder and faster after dropping 84 feet over Gibbon Falls. When these two rivers join, they form the Madison River, one of the few rivers in the world born from geothermal heat. From its source, the Madison flows across a high plateau filled with pine forests and open meadows. Beyond the lakes, the Madison becomes a fast, clear river moving through Montana. This clean and cold water creates perfect conditions for trout to grow. Brown trout, rainbow trout, and cutthroat trout live here in large numbers. Because of this, the Madison is officially named a Blue Ribbon Trout River. The river also flows through land where elk roam and where wolves and grizzly bears have returned. After nearly 140 miles, the Madison reaches Three Forks, where it joins two other rivers to create the Missouri River. Glacier National Park sits in northwestern Montana, right along the border between the United States and Canada. It officially became a national park in 1910, but the land itself is much older. Millions of years ago, massive rivers of ice slowly carved these mountains and valleys. That long process shaped the park into what we see today. The park is known for alpine meadows, thick forests, tall waterfalls, and wide open views. It is also home to about 25 remaining glaciers and nearly 200 clear, sparkling lakes. Glacier National Park covers more than 1 million acres, yet only a few roads pass through it. This limited access helps protect the land and keeps much of it wild and untouched. The park lies within the Rocky Mountains and includes parts of two major mountain ranges, More than 1,000 plant species grow here, supporting a wide variety of life. Animals such as black bears, grizzly bears, mountain goats, bighorn sheep, and wolves live freely in the park. Long before it became a park, this land was home to Native American tribes like the Blackfeet and the Flathead. In 1932, the famous Going to the Sun Road was completed, opening the heart of the park to visitors. Many of the valleys and lakes were formed when glaciers melted and left water behind. Today, Glacier National Park stands as one of the largest and best preserved natural areas in North America. Have you had the pleasure of visiting this park? If so, share a 1 in the comments. If it's now on your travel wish list, leave a 2. Alta Mine is a historic mining site located near Corbin in Jefferson County, Montana. The mine was first discovered in 1869 during Montana's early mineral rush. For decades, it produced valuable metals like lead, silver, zinc, copper, and even small amounts of gold. At its height, the mine helped shape the local economy and brought workers from many places to Montana's rugged mountains. The mine changed hands several times between different companies after 1883 as ore prices and mining costs fluctuated. By the mid-20th century, production slowed, and the mine eventually closed for good around 1956 to 1957. Today, the Alta Mine site stands as a reminder of Montana's mining history and the long journey of early settlers and miners. Efforts have been made to study and clean up old mining waste at the site to protect nearby land and water. Most people see Bozeman as a stop on the way to Yellowstone. But stay a little longer, and you'll realize the city itself is the real journey. Bozeman sits in the Gallatin Valley, a wide open land surrounded by mountains, forests, and rivers. Long before the city existed, native tribes like the Crow and Shoshone lived and traveled through this valley. They hunted, traded, and followed animal paths that crossed the land for thousands of years. In the 1800s, explorers and settlers arrived, drawn by fertile soil and nearby goldfields. John Bozeman created the Bozeman Trail, turning the valley into an important route in the American West. The trail brought new settlers, but it also caused conflicts with indigenous tribes protecting their land. These struggles shaped the early history of the town and changed the region forever. By 1864, Bozeman was officially founded and began growing as an agricultural centre. Farms and ranches spread across the valley, supported by clean water and rich soil. Later, Bozeman's closeness to Yellowstone made it a key stop for travellers and explorers. People came for hiking, fishing, and skiing in the surrounding mountains. Today, Bozeman is also home to universities, museums, and a fast-growing tech community. Old brick buildings still stand downtown, now filled with cafes, shops, and new ideas. We gather info from many sources. So if we missed anything or, a cool fact, drop it in the comments. What if your children only see this place in old photos? Grinnell Glacier is melting away and time is no longer on its side. Grinnell Glacier appears in the heart of Glacier National Park, surrounded by the rugged mountains of northern Montana. High in the Lewis Range, the ice spreads across the northern slope of Mount Gould, nearly 7,000 feet above sea level. The glacier carries the name of George Bird Grinnell, an explorer and conservationist who helped protect this land long before it became a national park. Lake McDonald is the largest lake in Glacier National Park, located in Montana, USA. It is about 10 miles long and very deep, reaching down more than 470 feet. The lake was formed during the Ice Age when huge glaciers carved out the land. As the ice slowly moved, it shaped a long and narrow basin that later filled with water. Today, mountains stand on 3 sides of the lake, making the area feel quiet and protected. These mountains block heavy rain, so the valley stays cool, mild, and slightly wet. Because of this climate, tall cedar and hemlock trees grow well around the lake. The valley is also home to many animals, including deer, elk, mountain goats, and black bears. People come here to fish, kayak, or camp near the water and enjoy the calm surroundings. What catches most visitors' attention are the colourful stones under the clear lake water. These rocks were shaped naturally, as glaciers broke large rocks into smaller pieces over time. Each rock formed during a different period, which is why their colours are not the same. The main reason for these colours is iron inside the stones. Rocks with more iron turn red or orange when they meet air, like rusty metal, giving the lake its famous rainbow shore. At over 6,600 feet above sea level. This is the highest point you can reach by car in Glacier National Park. Logan Pass sits directly on the Continental Divide, where North America is split in two by water flow. Reynolds Mountain and Clements Mountain rise above the pass, blocking the sky in every direction. During summer, the ground below them fills with wildflowers that grow fast in the short, warm season. The cold climate makes it hard for plants to survive, but the ones here are specially adapted to it. Logan Pass is also one of the best places in the park to see wildlife up close. Mountain goats are commonly seen walking through the meadows near the road. Many of them no longer fear people, making sightings almost guaranteed in summer. The area is also home to bighorn sheep and, at times, grizzly bears passing through. More than 1 billion years ago, tectonic forces compressed layers of blue and deep red rock beneath an ancient ocean. Today, the Flathead River reveals them like an open treasure of gemstones. This is not a fantasy scene, this is real in northwestern Montana. The river begins in the Canadian Rockies just north of Glacier National Park. From there it flows southwest for 158 miles before meeting the Clark Fork River. By the time it joins the Clark Fork, the Flathead provides more than half of its total water. The river is made up of 3 forks, known as the North, Middle and South Forks. All 3 forks are known for their unusually clear blue water. At the bottom of these rivers lie red, green and bluish-grey stones, formed from ancient belt rocks. The clear water makes these colourful stones easy to see, giving the river a striking and almost unreal look. Along the riverbanks, different landscapes appear close together, including sagebrush, tall spruce and fir trees, cottonwood groves, and open grasslands. This mix of plant life exists within a narrow river corridor and is rare to find in one place. The river flows through one of the largest intact ecosystems in the lower 48 states. The Flathead River also provides important habitat for grizzly bears, bald eagles, peregrine falcons, and grey wolves. So stay with us and keep watching. Because just ahead, Montana reveals landscapes that feel even more unexpected than this. This is not a lake. It is an inland ocean trapped between mountain ranges. Larger than Lake Tahoe and stretching over 30 miles long, Flathead Lake is vast enough to swallow entire cities and still leave room for giant unnamed things beneath its surface. Long before this water looked calm, it was part of a massive ice-dammed lake known as Lake Missoula. During the last ice age, thick glaciers blocked rivers and trapped enormous volumes of meltwater in this valley. Today, Flathead Lake reaches a depth of more than 370 feet, deeper than many shallow seas. It stretches about 30 miles from north to south and nearly 16 miles across at its widest point. For hundreds of years, local tribes believed something powerful lived in these deep waters. In Kootenay legend, the first people once lived on an island in the middle of the lake. One winter, two girls saw large antlers pushing up through the frozen ice. Thinking they belonged to an animal, they tried to cut them off with sharp stones. The ice suddenly cracked open, and a massive creature rose from below. The girls escaped using spiritual powers, but many people from their tribe drowned that day. This story is said to explain why the Kootenay later stayed close to the shoreline. More than a century ago, early settlers began reporting similar sightings. Locals later gave the creature a name, calling it Flessie, after the Loch Ness monster. Even today, people still report seeing long, dark shapes moving beneath the surface. Paradise Valley is a large river valley formed by the Yellowstone River in southwestern Montana. It is located just north of Yellowstone National Park, between Livingston in the north and Yankee Jim Canyon in the south. The valley runs mostly from north to south, following the natural path of the river. On the east side, it is bordered by the Absaroka Range, while the Gallatin Range rises on the west. This wide opening between the mountains makes the valley feel open and easy to travel through. Because of this, early explorers used Paradise Valley as their main route into Yellowstone. When Yellowstone National Park was established in 1872, this valley was the only recognized way to enter the park. In winter, Paradise Valley becomes an important home for elk herds that migrate here for food and shelter. Visitors often notice the valley's beauty, even before reaching Yellowstone's north entrance at Gardner. You might think you're watching a movie, but this is the real-life setting of the hit series Yellowstone. Filmmakers quietly turned the Bitterroot Valley into the heart of modern cowboy culture. This valley follows the path of the Bitterroot River in southwestern Montana, where water has guided life for thousands of years. Near the Idaho border, the land is tight and narrow, but it slowly opens up as it reaches the Missoula area. Tall mountains rise on both sides, creating a natural corridor that feels protected and remote. Have you ever touched a living being over 1,000 years old? In a world moving too fast, this is where time stands still and where you find yourself again. Located on the western edge of Montana, Lolo National Forest stretches across nearly 2 million acres of mountains, lakes, and deep green valleys. Sitting west of the Continental Divide, it feels the pull of two climates, shaping a land full of contrast and life. Here, towering conifers and gentle hardwoods grow side by side. Some standing for centuries, others for a full 1,000 years. More than 300 bird species fill the air with sound, while elk, mule deer, and bighorn sheep follow ancient paths across the land near Columbia Falls, Montana. Blankenship Bridge is a quiet riverside stop for people who love the outdoors. It feels like a small break from the road, where the river slows everything down. People come here to camp close to the water, where they can set up a tent without marked campsites or fences. The riverbank is rocky, and the water is clear enough to see the stones below. On hot days, visitors often swim here because the water feels cool and clean. There is plenty of open space along the river, so campers can spread out and avoid feeling crowded. Campfires are allowed, and people often sit nearby in the evening to relax after the day. For those heading toward Glacier National Park, Blankenship Bridge works well as a simple place to rest, swim, or fish before the next part of the trip. Whitefish Lake is a large freshwater lake beside the town of Whitefish. Surrounded by forests and mountain slopes in northwestern Montana. Long before the town existed, the Sutlish people lived here and named the lake for the mountain whitefish that once filled its clear waters. Today, its cold, clean blue water draws people to swim, boat, fish, and enjoy the lake all summer long. 5 mountain valleys come together at one quiet point in Montana. That point became Missoula, known today as the hub of 5 valleys. The city sits where the Clark Fork River meets the Bitterroot and Blackfoot rivers, giving it water, trade routes, and life. Because of this location, Missoula became a natural meeting place long before it became a city. In 1860, the first settlement began as a small trading post called Hellgate. Traders and settlers stopped here to rest, exchange goods, and prepare for the journey west. As more people arrived, mills were built to provide wood and supplies along the Mullen Road. These mills helped Missoula grow from a stopover into a working town. The arrival of the railroad in 1883 connected Missoula to the rest of the country. With trains came faster growth and a strong lumber industry. Over time, education and healthcare replaced lumber as the heart of Missoula's economy. Even today, parks, trails, and open land surround the city, keeping nature close to daily life. Did you know that the largest ski paradise in America began with a bold gamble by a legendary news editor? In 1969, Chet Huntley staked his entire career on wild, open meadows, and that gamble became Big Sky. Back then, this area was mostly empty land, high in the mountains of southern Montana. There were no resorts, no ski lifts, and no roads. Just grasslands surrounded by thick forests. The land sat between the Gallatin National Forest and the Spanish Peaks, far from busy cities. Huntley believed these quiet meadows could become a place where people connect with nature. Over time, those open fields slowly turned into a mountain community built around the outdoors. Big Sky now stretches from the Gallatin River, flowing through a green alpine valley. From that river, the land rises higher and higher toward Lone Mountain. Its height and shape make it perfect for long ski runs and steep slopes. In winter, deep snow covers the mountain and creates thousands of acres of skiable terrain. Unlike many ski towns, Big Sky offers wide slopes with fewer people and more space to move. When the snow melts, the same mountains open up for hiking, biking, and fishing. Stay with us and keep watching, because the journey doesn't end here, and the next places ahead will be even more surprising than you expect. With more people than any other city in Montana, Billings has grown into the state's busiest urban centre. Its position in the South Central Plains helped it become a natural meeting point for trade and travel. Farmers, ranchers, and small towns across eastern Montana rely on Billings for supplies and services. The city began in 1882 as a railroad stop, built to support trains crossing the region. As the rail lines expanded, the town grew faster than anyone expected. That sudden growth earned it the nickname the Magic City. The city now offers more hotel space than anywhere else in a large 5-state region. Because of that, Billings has become a major place for events, concerts, and gatherings across the northern plains. Flowing for nearly 120 miles, the Gallatin River travels through Wyoming and Montana before becoming part of the Missouri River. In 1805, explorer Meriwether Lewis named the river after Albert Gallatin, a key leader in early American history. The Gallatin is known for strong whitewater that attracts rafters and kayakers. Its clear, cold water also supports trout, making it a favourite place for fly fishing. Livingston began in the late 1800s as a busy railroad town along the Yellowstone River. Its location made it the original gateway for travellers heading to Yellowstone National Park. Surrounded by 4 mountain ranges, the town sits at the edge of Paradise Valley, between Bozeman and Yellowstone's north entrance. This valley is shaped by wide ranch lands and a wild river. What started as a stagecoach stop soon turned into a booming rail town. Even today, the old frontier spirit still lives in its streets and historic buildings. Many writers, musicians, and artists have found inspiration here over the years. This mountain range did not simply rise from the ground. In reality, it is more like a rug pushed across a wooden floor, bunched up and wrinkled by violent tectonic collisions that began around 80 million years ago. Those collisions happened when massive plates slid beneath North America at a shallow angle, pushing the land upward far from the ocean's edge. Instead of forming one single wall of stone, the pressure created many connected ranges spread across the continent. Over time, thick layers of rock were stacked on top of much older rocks buried deep below. Some of these ancient rocks are more than 1 billion years old and form the hard core of the mountains. During the Ice Ages, huge glaciers flowed through the range, carving wide U-shaped valleys and steep mountain walls. Much later, explorers crossed the range, drawn by minerals, fur, and fresh water. Even then, the rugged terrain kept the population low and the wilderness vast. Now, the Rocky Mountains stretch across several states and into Canada, forming the backbone of Western North America. Holland Lake lies in northwest Montana's Swan Valley, about 20 miles north of Seeley Lake and deep inside the Flathead National Forest. The lake covers about 413 acres of clear water, stretching roughly 1.75 miles long, with mountain views on every side. You can see the tall Swan Range rising behind the lake, giving visitors a dramatic, wild backdrop for every moment. Holland Lake is fed and drained by Holland Creek, and its water stays cool even in summer, inviting swimmers and paddlers alike. The area around Holland Lake is also home to forests of pine and fir, and wildlife like deer, birds, and even black bears can be seen nearby. Holland Lake also serves as a gateway to the vast Bob Marshall Wilderness. Lone Peak rises high above the town of Big Sky in southwestern Montana, reaching nearly 9,700 feet above sea level. It sits at the heart of the famous Big Sky Resort, known for its huge vertical drop. and some of the most dramatic mountain terrain in the United States. From the summit, visitors can see vast forests, deep valleys, and the Kootenay River as it continues to follow its ancient path. The trail to the top is steep and rocky, making it a thrilling challenge even for experienced hikers. In winter, Lone Peak becomes a playground for skiers and snowboarders, with powder snow and wide open bowls that draw adventurers from around the world. A tram built at the resort brings visitors close to the summit, offering a spectacular view without the hardest part of the climb. Near its base, weather can change quickly and snow may linger even in summer, reminding visitors of the wild climate high in the Rocky Mountains. Whether you seek high altitude views, thrilling winter sports, or rugged adventure, Lone Peak stands as one of Montana's most iconic natural landmarks. Rural Montana covers huge areas of open land, where most counties have fewer than 7 people per square mile, making them some of the most sparsely populated places in the United States. Many of these communities are officially called frontier areas, because towns are tiny and distances between services like hospitals and schools can be very long. Agriculture is the backbone of rural Montana, with crops like wheat, barley, hay, and cattle ranching shaping daily life and local economies. Many rural communities rely on public lands, forests, and rivers, not just for farming, but also for outdoor recreation and tourism, which bring money and jobs to small towns. Across rural counties, farms and ranches contribute billions of dollars in agricultural sales every year, making Montana one of the nation's key food producers. This rural terrain holds layers of history, from homesteads to century-old barns, that whisper stories of families who carved a life from the prairie. Trails and rivers thread through the countryside, inviting visitors to fish for trout, hike quiet paths, and soak in the peaceful rhythm of nature. The Yellowstone River is the last major river in the lower 48 US states that still flows freely without dams. It begins near Yellowstone National Park and travels through Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota. The river stretches for nearly 700 miles, slowly shaping the land as it moves northeast. Along its journey, it drains a huge area of mountains, plains, and river valleys. Many people know the Yellowstone River for its clear water and large trout. Fishermen from around the world come here because the river supports healthy fish life. In western Montana, the river flows through narrow canyons with steep rock walls. Huge boulders break the current, making the water fast, cold, and green. As the river moves east, the land opens up and the water begins to slow. Here, the Yellowstone becomes wide and calm as it passes through rich farmland. In 1806, explorers from the Lewis and Clark expedition first travelled down this river. 1 year later, traders built the first trading post near the mouth of the Bighorn River. During the 1800s, this region became a centre of conflict between native tribes and the US government. When railroads arrived in the 1880s, towns and farms began to grow along the riverbanks. Today, the Yellowstone continues its long journey toward the Missouri River. Quiet, powerful, and unchanged, it still carries the story of the American West. The Kootenay River is a major river in western North America that flows through Canada and the United States. This river begins in southeastern British Columbia and flows through Montana and Idaho. It is one of the highest major tributaries of the Columbia River, which eventually reaches the Pacific Ocean. Long before modern borders existed, the Kootenay people lived along this river. For hundreds of years, they hunted, fished, and travelled the river, while living mostly isolated from other tribes. In the early 1800s, explorer David Thompson became the first recorded European to reach the Kootenay. He later built trading posts that connected the river to larger trade networks. The land around the Kootenay River is shaped by very old hard rock from nearby mountain ranges. Much of the river valley was carved by glaciers during the last ice age. Around 15,000 years ago, ice blocked the river and created a massive ancient lake. When the glaciers melted, the water drained away and formed Kootenay Lake and wide river flats. The Kootenay River continues to follow this ancient path through mountains, valleys, and quiet communities. Around every bend of the Beartooth Highway, there's a new kind of beauty waiting to be seen. This is more than a road connecting Red Lodge and Cook City. It is a journey through the wild heart of the American Rockies. Known as an all-American road, it is considered a travel destination all on its own. It winds through nearly 900,000 acres of pristine wilderness across 3 national forests. Scenic road trips like this are a big part of American travel because they make discovery feel easy and exciting. The wind moves through tall grass and over open plains, carrying stories older than any road. Snowmelt runs down from distant peaks, shaping valleys that seem to stretch without end. Small towns rest in the shadow of big skies, where time feels slower and lasts longer. Every turn reveals a new shade of light, a new kind of silence. Out here, space is not empty, it is full of calm, memory, and quiet strength. And no screen can truly hold the feeling of standing beneath a sky this wide. So thank you for traveling through Montana with us. See you on the next journey.